Hello there, thanks for joining us on another week here at Handy Creators. In this week's video, we're going to be creating a new entryway table. We are very excited to show you guys what we've been working on.
The entryway table that we had there, we built when we first moved into our home. Our entryway is a little bit more slim. The moment we bought this house, I envisioned what I wanted for the entryway, but when we looked to purchase a table for there, the measurements were all off. What we were looking for did not exist. And we did find a few, but they were like almost at $1,000, and I was not gonna waste $1,000 on a little table. So we'll insert a picture here so you guys can see the first table that we ever built.
That table got us through our first year and served its purpose, and we loved it, but we felt like it was time for an upgrade.
This video is gonna be extremely short because the process is extremely easy.
This is a table that I think that even if you might not have the tools, someone you know might, or you could just rent them, but this is definitely a project that anyone could do. Doesn't matter your working experience, doesn't matter if you've done this in the past or not. It's very simple to do. You can do it over a weekend. We got our inspiration off this beautiful table that we found on the internet. Unfortunately, it is way above what we're willing to pay,
and it's too big for our space. This table is a little bit darker because we are gonna be giving this table away. If you know the aesthetic of our house, we're very into like light neutral tones. We will be building another one that it is the one we're gonna be keeping in a lighter color. So we'll keep you guys posted on Instagram. Make sure to follow us because we do sometimes things like this where we build two of something, and you know, my mom has a lot of stuff that we built and we don't want after. So we are gonna be building a lighter color for ourselves, but since this was the first one we built, we just went ahead and recorded it. It is extremely easy. It was a one-man job. I sat around a lot because there was not really anything for me to do because Jesus was doing most of it. Now, when it comes to building it together, yes, two people, but it was fairly simple. So let's go ahead, let's watch the video, and then we'll regroup and say our thoughts.
let's go.
For this specific design, we will be using a 2x12x8, which will be linked below. Since we wanted a very smooth finish, we began sanding with a 60 grit sandpaper. This will remove the very rough edges that currently exist. You want to make sure you sand the wood on all sides. Then, you are going to repeat the process but with a 150 grit sandpaper. You will start to notice that the wood begins to get smoother as you use this sandpaper, but it will still have a little bit of texture to it. If you are looking for a more textured finish, then this will be your final hand. If not, you will still have one more hand to go. And make sure to give yourself a lot of time for sanding. Finally, we are going to repeat the process once more but with a 220 grit sandpaper. Since our table will be made of solid pine, this is the highest that we can go. If only sanding was really this fast. Once we were done sanding, it was time to cut the wood down to size. This table will measure 31 inches tall by 31 inches wide, so we cut our wood into 3 even 32-inch pieces. To make our cuts, we used our trusty miter saw that will also be linked below. Since our miter saw has a 10-inch blade, we had to make a cut and then flip the wood to finish cutting it. If you have a saw with a bigger blade, you can skip this step. With our wood cut down to size, it was time to start on the angled cuts on our table saw.
So since we're at my in-laws house, unfortunately I left my trusty square at home, but that's alright. If you don't have one, what you can do is grab a sheet of paper, fold it into a perfectly little square, and then fold it in half, and you have a paper square that now you can use to check for a 45-degree angle. So what we're gonna do is stick this under here, and if you see, that's perfect. And then you just go ahead and lock it into place and make your cut.
After seeing that our blade was at a 45-degree angle, we were ready to cut. We put a strip of painter's tape along the edge of where the cut was going to go and then passed it through our table saw. This was going to prevent any cracking as the cut went through. You want to make sure that the legs are going to have one side of the wood cut off and the top portion will have both sides with the angled cuts. Before starting, we purchased a dowel from our local hardware store and cut them down to size. These will be used later in the build. To connect the adjoining pieces, we added a large strip of wood glue along the edge of the vertical piece and then spreaded it evenly across the edge. We then grabbed our top piece and laid it on this little workstation we had created to let gravity do most of the work. We held the two pieces together for a few minutes to allow the wood glue to dry. We then repeated the process with the other leg. After drying, we marked where the holes for the metal brackets would be and drilled the hole to install our dowels. Once the hole is drilled, add more wood glue and hit your dowel into place with a rubber mallet. If there's any piece of dowel still sticking out, simply cut it with an angle grinder and then gently sand over it to leave it flush with the existing wood. If you have any sections like these that need to be filled in, you can mix some wood glue and wood residue to make a glue-like consistency. Then apply this mix to fill in the gaps. Once it dries, you will want to sand it with a 220 grit sandpaper and it will look as good as new. Before moving to the next step, wait 30 minutes to allow the glue to fully dry. In that time, wipe down your table to remove any existing sanding residue with a clean rag or cloth. After 30 minutes, you can begin painting or staining your table. For our project, we used the Bare water-based stain in the color Special Walnut. We apply the stain in the direction of the grain with a clean cloth. For applying, simply follow the directions on the can. We gave the table a second coat of the stain because we wanted a bit of a darker finish, but it is not necessary. The stain dried within few minutes and it was time for the final step, the metal braces. We installed these 1.5 inches from each side on both sides. Not only did the braces give the table more sturdiness, but it also gave it a very antique finish that we absolutely love. And just like that, we call this project a complete success. We definitely recommend this project to anyone out there looking to upgrade their space. This design can also be used as a sofa table and can be built by almost anyone. It fit perfect into our desired space and we absolutely love the finished product.
And there you have it. You have a rustic, antique, beautiful statement piece that you could insert anywhere in your home.
I wanted to let you guys know this. I don't know if you guys have seen on the internet these tables that are like squares or rectangles all over. You would just have to do another top and add it to the bottom. It's extremely easy if that's what you want for your home. We decided not to do this since we don't wear shoes in our house. We usually keep our indoor sandals under the table and we didn't want to be putting that on top of a furniture. We thought it was not as clean. But you could do that if you're into it. And we decided to put the brackets on top because we wanted to give it more of like a rustic, heavy duty look.
The best thing about this type of table is that it's fully customizable to whatever area you have. You just make it your own, and that's exactly what we did.
I'll show you guys a video of how sturdy this table is, okay? So let's go. We hope you like this video.
As always, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that little notifications bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support.
We'll see you on the next week.
Bye.
Yeah. This isn't going anywhere.